The Browns are finally ready to take the first steps into their new home.
Life for us having a permanent home will change.
Once stars of the wild and off-the-grid lifestyle, the Alaskan Bush People cast now face a different kind of survival. In 2025, the cameras have stopped rolling, but the drama hasn't. With family feuds, shocking arrests, new babies, and bold accusations, the Browns are living a real-life story more intense than anything on screen. From mountaintop to messy headlines, their world has changed. Some are trying to stay out of the drama, while some are stirring it up. Stay with us as we dive into the real update on the Browns' wild new chapter, show and spin-off. For almost 10 years, Alaskan Bush People was a show about a family that lived far away from everything. No power, internet, or normal roads. It followed the off-grid life of Billy Brown, his wife Amy, and their children. They lived in the wild, first in Alaska, later in the mountains of Washington. They built things from scratch, hunted and fished for food, and tried to live by their own rules. People got hooked because it was different from other reality shows. Whether everything was always real or not, the family felt real. They weren't perfect. They argued and had problems, but they stuck together. And for many viewers, that meant something. The show started in 2014. It ran for 14 seasons. That's a long time for any reality show. Viewers saw the kids grow up, the family move, face health issues, and experience real changes. It wasn't just about the wild. It became about how this family clung to each other as life continued to change around them. After the last season aired in 2022, nothing new came. No big goodbye or final season. Discovery Channel never said it was canceled. They also never said it was coming back, and it just ended. A big reason for that was the death of Billy Brown, the father and leader of the family. He passed away in February 2021 after a seizure. He was 68 years old and had been struggling with health problems for years. His demise hit the family hard, mainly because Billy had been the heart of the show. He had strong ideas about how to live and what mattered most. He often spoke about the importance of sticking together, trusting family, and staying strong in difficult times. After he passed, the energy shifted. The family did one more season without him, but it didn't feel the same. Many fans noticed this, and after that season the show quietly came to an end. But the family didn't completely disappear. One of the sons, Bear Brown, decided he still had more to share. Bear had always been the wildest one. He was known for his active nature, especially enjoying activities like climbing trees and running through the snow, but in recent years he has changed. He got married and became a dad. He also began to open up more about his life, wanting to share the rest of the story. In early 2024, Bear announced a new spin-off. It was titled Alaskan Bush People, Behind the Scenes with Bear Brown. He said it would be different from the old show. He wanted to show what filming was really like, how the family lived when the cameras weren't on, and what life had looked like since the original series ended. It wasn't just about survival, it was going to be honest. He also launched a small online store featuring shirts and gear bearing the family name, and began posting more frequent updates online. He told fans the new show would come out in the summer 2024, but by the middle of 2025, it still hadn't aired. There are no episodes or release dates, and no network has officially picked it up. Bear hasn't said whether it's delayed or canceled. He stopped talking about it. However, Bear is the only one in the family who is publicly trying to keep the name alive. He posts often, shares moments with his kids, and talks to fans. The rest of the family, Noah, Gabe, Bam, Rain, Birdie, and even Amy, have stayed quiet. Matt, the oldest brother, lives on his own and hasn't been part of the show for years. At this point, it looks like Alaskan Bush People is over. There's no sign of a comeback, and Bear's spin-off hasn't moved forward. But for the fans who followed the family all these years, the Browns haven't been forgotten, and their story still matters. Just when it seemed like things were finally settling down, something unexpected pulled the Browns back into the public eye. After Billy passed, questions arose about money, a deal from years ago, and ownership of certain assets. It wasn't a new episode or a new season. It was a lawsuit that brought the family right back into the spotlight, whether they wanted it or not. Unexpected legal battles. After Billy Brown passed away in early 2021, it seemed like the family was going to keep things private and move forward quietly. However, it didn't take long for legal problems to emerge, issues that brought the Brown family back into the spotlight and exposed aspects of their lives that fans had never seen on the show. The trouble started with a man named Robert Maughan. He said he had a signed contract from Billy Brown, promising him 10% of all earnings from Alaskan Bush People, as well as 10% from any books or related projects tied to the Brown family. According to Maughan, he had given Billy money in advance to help fund future projects, and in return, Billy was supposed to receive a cut of the profits. However, after Billy passed, that money never materialized. In 2022, Robert Maughan filed a lawsuit against Billy's estate. He asked the court to order the family to pay him what he believed he was owed, $500,000. The lawsuit was aimed directly at Billy's estate, which is now controlled by his widow, Amy Brown. Amy became the official representative of the estate after Billy passed, so legally, she was the one who had to respond. At first, the family tried to stop the lawsuit from going forward, but in 2023, a judge ruled that the case could continue. That meant Amy and the rest of the estate had to defend themselves in court. This is when things got more complicated and more public. In early 2025, the Discovery Channel was brought into the case. The judge ordered Discovery to hand over complete financial records from the Alaskan Bush People. This included contracts, payment breakdowns, and information on the amount of money Billy Brown had earned from the show over the years. For fans who had always wondered how much the Browns earned from filming, this was the first time actual numbers would be revealed in court. According to legal documents filed in the case, Billy Brown's estate included land, livestock, jewelry, and rare coins. The total value was estimated to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. There were also questions about how much money Billy had received directly from the network and how much was passed down to his children or wife. At the same time, a second lawsuit was quietly filed, this time by Bear Brown. He claimed that his father had promised him a fair share of the show's earnings, especially after Billy passed away. Bear argued that the money was not being handled properly and that he had a right to part of it. The full details of Bear's claim haven't been made public, but it showed that even inside the family, there were disagreements about how the estate should be handled. While all this was happening, Amy remained silent. She never posted publicly about the lawsuit. She also hasn't appeared much in public since Billy's passing. It's not clear whether she is still living at the family's mountain property full-time or if she's moved elsewhere. What is clear is that this court case put a major spotlight on her at a time when she was already dealing with a lot emotionally and physically. Some fans were surprised by all of this. On the show, the family always seemed tight. They discussed loyalty and protecting each other, but behind the scenes things were more complicated, and a lot was happening that we were not aware of. Money has a way of creating tension, even in the tightest families, and when that money is tied to a TV show, contracts, and past promises, it can get messy fast. As of mid-2025, the lawsuit is still ongoing. No final decision has been made. The court is still reviewing documents from both sides, and the Discovery Channel is cooperating with the request for financial records. The case may be settled privately, but only time will tell. It's also possible that more personal and financial details about the Brown family will come out in future court hearings. For now, what we do know is that, after Billy's demise, the family faced more than just grief. They had to contend with legal battles, financial disputes, and intense pressure from within and outside their circle. That part of the story was never shown on TV, but it's genuine. This chapter of the Brown family's life shows something a lot of people go through after losing a loved one. The main issue is facing hard decisions about what they left behind. The difference here is that it's all playing out in public. Fans who once watched the Browns chop wood and build cabins are now seeing a very different side of the story. one that includes courtrooms, lawyers, and lengthy paperwork. This legal battle isn't the only challenge the family has faced since the show stopped. While the court case was ongoing, some family members began to experience personal and legal issues, as well as problems with one another. Now let's look at the police reports, family conflicts, and the events that led to even more questions about what's going on with the Browns today. Family members' new development. In April of 2025, the Brown family faced two big stories at once. First came the shocking news about Raiven Brown and her husband Josiah. They were arrested in Washington state and charged with a serious crime. According to police reports, they are accused of stealing more than $171,000 worth of belongings from Josiah's uncle. The list of items included $75,000 in cash, $85,000 in gold coins, $8,000 in wine, champagne, and firearms, including 2 pistols and a revolver. There was even a bong. Additionally, the uncle stated that there was damage to the rental home, which he valued at approximately $5,000. The uncle told the police that Josiah was the only person who knew where the valuables were hidden. He also said a neighbor had video footage showing Raiven and Josiah at the site late in March. Raiven and Josiah were arrested on April 11th and held in jail until April 14th when they posted bail. At their first court hearing, Raiven pleaded not guilty to multiple charges, including first-degree burglary, second-degree criminal trespass, and malicious mischief. Josiah pleaded not guilty to burglary and malicious mischief. Just after the arrest, Raiven posted a message on Instagram. She said it hurt her that people believed lies about her. She also asked her followers to wait and hear her side of the story. Raiven also accused a former manager of taking $43,000 from her. Almost at the same time, another headline emerged, catching many fans by surprise. On April 21st, Bear Brown and his wife Raiven announced their separation. They shared matching posts on Instagram confirming their decision to go their separate ways. In those messages, Bear said they were good friends still in love and would co-parent their 3 sons, River, Cove, and Everest. He explained that they had discussed it for a while and felt that this was best for their family. Bear and Raiven had met in 2019, became engaged, and married in January 2022. They have 3 sons together, River, who is 5, Cove, who is 2, and baby Everest, who is 8 months old. Both Bear and Raiven emphasized that their split was mutual and without anger. They made it clear that their priority was to raise their sons in a respectful and loving environment. This announcement was heartfelt and calm. Bear described Raiven as the love of his life and said he asked fans not to post hateful comments. Raiven said they had tried for years to make things work, but ultimately felt this was the best path forward and asked fans to continue their support and positivity. They are asking people not to judge, but to understand that sometimes love means making hard decisions and putting family first, even if that means living apart. The news was hard for fans who had seen the couple share special moments over the years. They had pauses and reunions before, but always seemed to come back together stronger. After their first son River was born, Bear and Raiven had broken off their engagement but later reunited and got married. So, while not entirely surprising given their history, there was still shock in their fans. This separation is also a reminder that marriage is never easy, especially when life is already complicated. The Browns are faced with raising 3 young sons in 2 homes. They will have to coordinate schedules, support one another, and find a way to share responsibilities without living under the same roof. It is a challenge, but their public messages show they are committed to doing it with respect and love. For Raiven, the challenges are more legal in nature. Her case will continue in court and may include a trial or plea deal. Documents show that her lawyer has requested discovery of evidence, which could consist of video medical reports or financial statements. That information may shed light on what happened that night. The judge is expected to set a schedule soon, and the case will likely extend into late 2025 or early 2026. For Bear and Raiven, the journey is more personal. Their split will shape life at home for their boys. Will they share holidays? How will the boys cope? Only time will show how their co-parenting will work and whether they can maintain peace while living apart. It is a lot to process. In just a few weeks, one part of the family found themselves in a courtroom. Another part began a life apart under the same roof. These events illustrate the complexity of family life. The Browns live in the public eye, and their challenges now become public stories. That is not easy for anyone, especially when children and legal charges are involved. Their lives look far different from the survival show we once saw. However, the heart of it is still family and how they handle what comes next. In early April of 2025, Noah Brown requested a welfare check on his mother, Amy, and his sister, Rain. He was scared and said something was wrong. He told police that his mother might be using substances and had stopped taking her medicine. He said he heard confusing messages from Amy and believed Rain and her husband, Josiah, had given her substances. He also said there were guns in the cabin and that Rain thought Josiah was some kind of messiah figure. Officers went to the cabin and conducted a check, but found no evidence of a crime at the time. However, that request was put on record and later appeared in court documents when Rain and Josiah were arrested days later for their connection to the burglary case. Noah had tried this before. In August of 2024, he filed for a restraining order against Rain. He said she had used cocaine and meth, and that she also made threats, offered his mother Ami, cocaine, and even threatened him with a gun. The court denied the request weeks later because the documents did not provide sufficient proof. Even so, Noah felt something was wrong. He said Ami had chest pain in February and that she had stopped taking her meds. He was afraid she would suffer serious harm if no one intervened. Noah's welfare check did not result in charges, but it sparked a media storm. People began to ask what was happening behind the scenes while Rain and her husband faced burglary charges. Noah's concerns about substance use and gun safety added a new layer to the story. Rain denied everything and said Noah was lying. She posted a message to her online followers saying she was hurt and wanted people to hear her side. The timing was such that Rain was arrested just a few days after Noah's request. That left many wondering if the two events were connected. Rain and Josiah were facing serious theft charges simultaneously, and now the family's division was public and painful. However, Noah's worry was not just about Rain. It was about their mother, Amy. In February of 2025, Amy became very ill. She had chest pain and had trouble breathing. Her children rushed her to a hospital, and she was airlifted to a bigger medical center. Doctors said she had pneumonia and placed her in a coma to help her lungs rest. She was put on a breathing tube. The incident was frightening for everyone. Snowbird, Amy's daughter, posted that Amy was in the emergency room having tests done and was struggling to breathe. Bear explained later that her oxygen levels were very low and she had chest pains. He said she was put under anesthesia so doctors could treat her lungs. After a few days, Amy began to wake up. Bear shared that they removed the breathing tube and moved her out of intensive care. She was still weak, but she was improving. By mid-February, Bear said she was still in hospital care but stable. Later, she was moved to a regular room and cared for at home with family and nurses assisting her. There was a pause in the family as they focused on Amy's recovery. Fans saw it as a moment to rally around her. Many praised her for her strength. She had faced stage 3 lung cancer back in 2017 and survived. She had fought hard before, and this was another test. This time, she was also fighting pneumonia and weakened lungs. Support came from everywhere: family, followers, and friends. While Amy recovered, the background story of substance use claims and police checks got more attention. The welfare report and hospital drama became part of the public files in Rain's burglary case. It meant that some of Noah's concerns were officially on record with the court. The judge now sees both the alleged illegal substance case and the burglary charges together. Meanwhile, Amy's health is steadily improving. She is out of the ICU but still recovering at home. People close to her say her lungs are better and her spirits are high. Bear and other family members have asked for privacy but thanked fans for their kindness. Ami has not posted much herself, but a recent update shared that she is resting and doing better each day. Currently, the family is caught between worry and hope. They are juggling court dates, substance use concerns, and medical recovery. All of this is playing out in public for the first time since Billy's demise. Ami's illness brought them together for support. Noah's actions were driven by fear. Rain says she was hurt, but the court files will decide what comes next in Rain's case. Doctors will decide how long Ami needs to recover, and the community around them hopes for rapid healing. The Wolf Pack. Now, after Billy Brown passed away in early 2021, the Brown family faced the kind of silence that changes people. The cameras slowed down. The group dinners, the hikes, the laughs around the fire, those moments became memories. The family was not the same without their leader. For a while they stayed close and mourned together. They held on to the Wolfpack dream, but as the years passed, that bond began to unravel. Today, every member of the Brown family stands in a different place, and many are walking very separate roads. Noah Brown has made it clear he no longer wants to be deeply involved in family drama. He lives in Washington with his wife and children, building a quiet life. After asking the police to perform a welfare check on Rain and Ami, and after attempting to obtain a restraining order against Rain in 2024, it became obvious that Noah sees things differently from the rest of the family. His actions may have been motivated by concern, but they created deep divisions. As of now, Noah is not involved in family events and rarely posts anything connected to the show. He appears focused on protecting his own family, no matter what it costs him, as well as the rest of his siblings. Rain Brown, the youngest, has faced the hardest spotlight in recent times. From the theft and burglary case involving her and her husband Josiah to the public fallout with Noah, Rain's life has been turned upside down. She says the accusations are lies and that her husband and she have been hurt. She also shared that she was betrayed by someone who once managed her finances. Rain has always shown strength and openness with fans, but this time her world is much heavier. She is now facing legal pressure, public judgment, and family distance all at once. Bear Brown has taken a different path. He has chosen to stay visible, sharing his thoughts on social media and connecting with fans. His separation from Raiven in April 2025 was sad but peaceful. Both Bear and Raiven said they still cared for one another and were focused on co-parenting their sons, River, Cove, and Everest. Bear remains a loving father and continues to post updates with positive energy. Behind the calm words and strong presence, he too is carrying the weight of change, especially after the demise of his father and the loss of his marriage. Raiven has been mature and steady throughout everything. She did not speak badly about Bear. She asked for privacy, kindness, and support for their children. She has chosen to move forward, and fans have respected that. Gabe Brown has remained mostly out of the spotlight. He is married with children, but he has not posted much or spoken out about the family's problems. He did not comment on Rain's case or Noah's welfare check. Gabe appears to have stepped back from public life and may be opting for peace over attention. Some fans believe he is still close to Amy and Bear, but there is little confirmation about his current standing in the divide. Joshua Bam Brown was always the quiet, steady one. Since Billy's demise, Bam has said almost nothing to the public. He appeared in the final seasons of the show, but then pulled back. There were rumors of disagreements with production and possibly with family members, but he has never publicly discussed them. Bam might still be close to Rain and Birdie, but no one knows. He keeps to himself and stays out of drama. Fans have said he appears to be living a peaceful and private life. Snowbird Brown, also known as Birdie, has stayed loyal to Amy. She was with Amy during her health crisis in early 2025, helping her in the hospital and at home. She has always been quiet but loving. Birdie does not comment on fights or news headlines. She posts mostly about her love for animals and nature. Her bond with Amy is strong. Whether she is close to her brothers is unclear, but she has never spoken ill of anyone. Birdie represents the quieter heart of the family, someone holding space for peace, even when everything is falling apart. Matt Brown, the oldest, has been completely separate from the family for years. After his battles with unhealthy habits, Matt left the show and moved on to a private life in California. He has shared updates about his recovery, encouraging others to stay sober and strong. While he does not mention his parents or siblings directly, he seems to have found his path outside of the fame and conflict. He is the one sibling who completely stepped away from the family and the spotlight for his survival. Together, the Brown family no longer moves as one. The wolf pack they once called themselves is now scattered. There are broken ties, legal issues, health scares, and choices that cannot be undone. And yet, at the same time, there is still some evidence of love that has not completely disappeared. Ami Brown, the matriarch, is still recovering from her recent pneumonia and breathing problems. She is at home with family around her, especially Birdie. She does not post online and rarely appears in public now, but fans still send her love, remembering her as the strong woman who fought cancer and helped hold the family together when Billy passed. Her health is fragile, but her spirit remains strong. The show Alaskan Bush People is no longer filming, and there are no signs of a return. Spin-off ideas have floated around, but nothing official has come from Discovery. The family's real-life struggles now live in headlines and court records, not on TV. Presently, each sibling is creating their future. Real families face pain, and sometimes families break apart. Sometimes they reunite, and sometimes they do not. The Browns are no longer building homes in the woods or climbing mountains together. They are now trying to build peace, understanding, and survival in a different world. Whether they ever reunite fully or not, the Brown family left behind more than a show. They left behind a story about adventure, family, hardship, and love. What comes next is up to each of them. But for now, we can only watch as they all navigate their paths and wish them the best in everything they do. What do you think of the latest update on the Browns family? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more deep dives like this. Thanks for watching. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.